Getting comfortable?
Yeah, get my wallet out of my pocket here. It's poking me in my bum. I might have a nap midway. Usually you got yourself your segments where you like to talk.
You're being part of this.
I'll just put my feet up and...
Your feet are already up.
Yeah, they are.
Welcome to the Deadzone Podcast. Deadzone is the sci-fi tabletop miniature skirmish game from Mantic Games. And now, here are your hosts Rob Harper and Jack Fife. I am your announcer, William Randolph Wintergreen.
Welcome to the 43rd episode of Deadzone the Podcast for mid-October 2015. In this episode, we start talking about Deadzone Redux. As always, you can go to deadzonegame.podbean.com to see all the pictures, or you can go to youtube.com/c/Deadzone the Podcast for the video version of the show. And now on to the episode. Welcome to episode 43 of Deadzone the Podcast for October 2015. I am Rob.
And I'm Jack.
And we're here with lots of news.
News.
We're going to do a Warpath Kickstarter wrap-up next episode. This one is all about Deadzone Redux. So we got tons of news and tons of things to discuss about that. And we'll get right into it.
We begin with our first segment, the news.
What is Deadzone Redux?
Deadzone Redux is Infestation's reboot of the rules that we've been telling them what to do and they've been listening.
Perfect.
But first, let's get into some pictures that we found on the internet that Mantic has supplied us. The first one is a video they actually put up. The link will be in our show notes at deadzonegame.podbean.com. And it's of the Teraton Shock Trooper. And you can go see a video. It's a video of the what do they call that? The digital sculpt.
Yeah, we've seen the Shock Trooper before, and yeah.
This is the actual sculpt of it. So he's the new Teraton with his little baton, and he's looking cool.
So he's a Shock Trooper, but also a Shock Trooper.
I don't know what you mean by that.
Oh, okay. A shock troop is a specific type of soldier that has a specific designation and for design for certain things. But he looks like electric based devices on his hands, so he would also shock people with a taser like.
Could be. We don't know yet.
That was a long explanation for my joke.
Yeah, I didn't understand it. And we also have more pictures of the Aberration, sorry.
And, yeah, he looks like a Type 1, but gnarlier.
Yeah, he looks like a gorilla, I think.
A gorilla Type 1?
Yeah, here's a side shot of him.
He's most certainly more of the spiky, torn up nastiness that, like... The first go round of the plague had a look that was kind of heading that direction, but now that they've turned it up to 11.
Yeah, this guy's definitely the more bone spikes, and
they've determined that the platelets and the bone protrusions and stuff are going to be a little more pronounced.
Yeah, he's cool. I think he's gonna be bigger than a stage 1 too.
That's the thing. When I first saw, I thought I would have preferred just a different sculpt of the stage 1. Like, say, same stat lines and everything, but, hey, you want a field, especially with Warpath coming out.
Yeah, you want more variety. Yeah.
I did, because we were using the rest stick, I was able to change the ones I had, change their arm positions, change the way they were standing, and that was nice.
And they did do, for the original Kickstarter, they did do a limited edition stage 1. That was a different sculpt. But it's never been released otherwise.
But, so, just even as that's an interesting model alone.
Yeah.
I'd like to see what he's going to bring to the table.
Yeah, we'll see what style. I hope he's fast, because he is gorilla-like. Gorillas are pretty fast. That'd be cool.
Take away the slow, give him maybe...
well, things are going to change.
Random.
We'll get on to that, but yeah, give him a little bit more speedy.
Yeah, give him something that's a little different.
And another picture we have here is of Chief Mahulaka.
Mahulaka?
He sounds very Hawaiian, but he's the new orc guy.
Oh,
and he's got a jetpack. Yeah.
Well, since he's traveling on a jetpack, I wonder if he's saying aloha, or conversely, if it was going the other way, aloha.
And me and Andrew mentioned this last podcast that I didn't like the sculpted in spray of his jet as the base.
The
I wish
smoke
they
and
just did like
propellant
a
and stuff.
flight
Yeah.
base. Yeah, I wish he's alright. He's I like his head. I wish all the orcs' heads look like that.
I suppose that plumage of exhaust is supposed to, like the gravity jetpacks that the enforcers have. Like those, I suppose this is supposed to look dirty and jet fueled rather than anti-grav or something.
Yeah, not so clean.
But if you were to try and field a couple of them, you'd want to change their pitch, change their angle of attack.
Well, they do have the two different gun options. You can either have double pistols or a rifle.
Oh. But yeah, I like his helmet. I like
the helmet's cool.
I like the look of him, and a flight stand. How much could it possibly? You could probably go on the miniature market, grab some clear plastic stands, and pin them up.
Yeah, cut off the jet, that stuff coming off. I don't know. I just don't like that sculpted in. Or even if you did a flight stand that did like cotton wool, or not cotton wool, but the cotton balls as the smoke coming out the back, like people do with exploded tanks and stuff.
I would either go clear or just paint that as it is.
Yeah, you could just paint it white and dry brush it, I guess. I don't know. Never used him anyways. He's an orc, so it's a moot point.
Yeah, but is he a mercenary?
No, he's an orc. He's an orc leader, I believe.
Oh, and we'll get into that too.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. And we'll quickly have a Mantic out of here, and we'll get into all that. Redux.
You have been listening to the Deadzone Podcast with your hosts Jack Fike and Rob Harper. The Deadzone Podcast is dedicated to Deadzone, the tabletop miniature game by Mantic Games. Visit them at manticgames.com.
Hey, this is Pat Lewis, North American Community Manager for Mantic Games, and you are listening to Deadzone the Podcast.
And now into the Deadzone Redux. Jake Thornton over on his blog on quirkworthy.com. He's been posting a lot of stuff, so we have a lot of information about Deadzone. We've collected it all here, and hopefully will be informative for everyone.
For a change.
And the first picture they're showing is from a playthrough that Jake and Ronnie did of the game. And Ronnie's looking excited. He's pointing at the board.
Yeah, it looks like he's enjoying himself.
And he's using that secret weapon.
Those tiles.
Yeah.
That really.
They're really nice. It should be nice for the price, but yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. They're not a bargain, but if you really want to make yourself a nice looking board, that's gonna meet your expectations, if not exceed, when you just by looking at it.
Yeah, and then there's another sniper shot through all the terrain, seeing a Pathfinder way in the back there.
Way in the back.
And the last one is another great shot of that board. You can see the details on it.
Yeah, and the terrain that's on there is very just sketchy, very barely standing looking. It matches the board. It's dark charcoal gray. It's nice looking. It's fun to play on something that looks like that rather than some cardboard boxes and a soda can.
Yep. It's always nice to play on a nice board. So we'll get into it. Deadzone Redux, as they're calling it, or DZR, as they're short forming it. It's the current name for the updated and improved version of Deadzone. It's pretty much Deadzone 2.0 they've already gone on to. It's because everybody's been talking. It seems like that the original Deadzone was, since the Kickstarter was so huge, that they kind of, I wouldn't say rushed it out, but it didn't get as much attention to all the different factions, so there's a lot of issues. And this seems to be the thing that they've been trying to fix it with. And Jake's been working on it for a few months now, and it's still being tested. And it's supposedly faster, bloodier, and easier to learn than the original, which is nice. And they're also updating the campaign version of the game and army selection. So it's kind of cool that they're really revamping the whole thing.
Well, that's three things that pretty broad topics, but three things that did have room for improvement, could be addressed, and people would say yes. All three of those things do have some things that could be adjusted.
Yeah, for sure. And Jake said that at first Ronnie just wanted a 1.5, just a little bit of cleaning up of the rules. But
which we had thought.
Yeah,
that was our assumption for the last couple months, last few months when
Yeah.
we've been discussing it, we were thinking a 1.5.
Just a simple change. But Jake said the more he looked at it, the more he just wanted to make it right. Like, he knew he could clean it up and make it exactly what Ronnie wanted. So they've worked together, and it seems to be a whole new shebang here.
So what are some of these changes that this redo is doing?
Well, there's a innovative new movement idea that they're going to add a speed stat to the models. Who would have thought of that?
Right in the stat line?
And it includes more variation in the model's movement rates. And it's simple. That sounds familiar.
That does sound familiar. I don't want to say that perhaps that we had thought of something, but I'm pretty sure two enterprising young lads, possibly with their own podcast, might have discussed this, about 4 months ago. But,
Jake's a genius.
Yeah, well, all we said was that perhaps that we would, if it was you and I, we would put a stat line with one being a walk movement, one being a rapid movement, and that way eliminated the skill. What did Jake come up with?
So speed's going to be listed as two numbers separated by a dash. So it's going to be like 1, 2, or 2, 3. And the first number is the distance in cubes the model goes when it takes a move action. And the second number is how far it can go when it goes into a sprint action.
Oh,
It eliminates things like fast and slow.
What happened to your rule?
Yeah, so it's great. At least that I'm sure we didn't think of it on it, like he thought of it on his own. But it's just such a good idea that.
Yeah, it's exactly what we had discussed, and we're not just blowing smoke. You can, Rob, you can insert the.
No, I'm not inserting nothing. That's too hard to find. That.
Okay, well then you can
use your imagination.
Faithful listeners can look back on where we discussed that, and that was the fix that we had come up with for that very same thing for the very same reasons. And I'm sure we're not alone, but that is
It's just so much
fantastic for the first change in this Redux that you've just mentioned. As far as I'm concerned, it's a big one and a really good one.
Yep. And the next change is the whole command system's being redone. And this is something we definitely didn't think of. It's they're going to switch out the cards for dice, command dice. So why command dice? It's a replacement of the old deck of cards. It's originally planned that they were going to use dice originally, but for various reasons, Jake said it didn't happen. But now it's faster to play, easier to learn and explain the dice, and still retains that gameplay feature. So we're getting rid of the battle cards, which is good. That's what I wanted.
Which is we had determined that the cards had to go.
Yeah, so no more battle cards, because it's one or the other, right? It's either you have cards, you don't have cards.
We were...
Actually, I wanted battle cards, but then, yeah.
You conceded, after our debates, you did concede that was the way to go, was get rid of the cards, and it looks like that was also something that Jake was thinking about. Now, when we had made our discussions, we had said we were sticking with both the flavor and the structure of the game as is.
We never thought there would be such changes.
This is a 2.0 change. This isn't a 1.5. The addition of a new rules dynamic is definitely outside of what we had limited ourselves to. Now, how do the dice work, and why is it better?
So the command dice are abstract representations of training and cohesion within a well-led fighting force, which it's adding a little bit of random to that, but it allows moments of cunning and planning. It's just like which is the exact same thing the cards did, right? And but it also adds a little bit of luck, which is interesting.
Well,
I do love rolling dice.
There was luck involved in pulling the cards.
I guess drawing the cards, yeah.
Now, are the dice based on the leadership stats of who you've fielded, or does everyone get 4 dice, or what ties this into the choosing a general for your team?
Yeah, each strike team gets 3 dice, but then some abilities like Tactician alter this number. So like Tactician and Strategist, I'm sure, add numbers.
Okay, fantastic. Then it does...
I'm not sure if the leader stat's going to matter as much. We'll get to that later. I'm not sure if the whole leader thing, because the way that force management's going to be is different. So I don't think leaders matter anymore. But
at least those numbers on every stat line.
Yeah, I think that's going to change.
Okay.
And so at the start of each round, both players see how many command dice they have, and then they roll them. Every round you roll your command dice again, and you have that dice for the round.
Oh, so it's not a game pool, it's a round pool.
Yeah.
Okay.
And as long as the player has at least half its models still on the table, they reroll one reroll. You get a reroll on those dice. If you get like a bunch of stuff you don't want, you could reroll it again. at the beginning.
Oh.
So if you're like, okay, I got like all shoots or something, and I don't have any shooters, I'm going to reroll it.
And as long as you have half your team
you
still
get
on
to
the
reroll,
board.
yeah. But you have to keep the second result no matter what.
Okay.
And the results of the dice must be used during the round or they'll be lost. And we'll have a picture of what the dice, the mocked-up dice look like that they were using.
The prototypes.
Yep, it's D6s, which is interesting.
Oh.
Well, I think they want to differentiate from the D8s, that's all. It's funny thing is, in Warpath, the command dice are D8s, and the rest of the dice are D6s. So it's like the opposite. I don't know why they didn't use the same command dice for both, but...
Questions.
Well, it's two different design teams. So one of the symbols would be a +1, it says, and it means you get +1 model activation. So normally players take turns activating models. That's a new thing, too, is it's alternating activations, as we discussed last podcast. So you go, I go, you go, I go. So this will allow you go with that command dice. You get to go, I go. Then you get an extra move in there. So you could take a turn and then move another guy right away, which could really help. And another one is going to be a cube. It looks like a cube, and it's +1 dice to any normal test. So you get to add a die to a test, which is cool.
Okay.
And you may add more than one dice to a single test. So if you get a bunch of those command ones, you want to add them all to one test.
You roll 5, five of those dice come up with a little dice pip. You can go, okay, well, that's 5 dice I'm adding to this.
Yeah, so you can be like, on my sniper, I want to kill this guy.
Okay.
Another one, it says move. It's additional move action. It's +1 move, +1 cube, regardless of their speed stat. So you just get one extra cube.
Okay.
Next one, shoot. You get an additional shoot action. And fight, you get an additional fight action. Makes sense. Mantic Splat is the special one, and that's the army-specific special thing. So each faction will have a different special ability. And I don't think they've released what those special abilities are going to be yet, but it should be interesting.
But it's going to add flavor, and it's going to be something that is going to be a little extra special for each faction and play to their strong suits, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure. And another thing is for the shoot and the fight and the move actions, you can how usually you can't do move or shoot. With the extra dice, obviously you can do shoot. So you could shoot twice in a row or move twice.
And we did shackle ourselves with that when we were doing all of our discussions on rules changes. We did also keep that as something we stuck to. The dice obviously changed that, and I'm wondering if there's going to be a little more wiggle room in the game on that front, because that used to be pretty in stone.
Yeah. You still get 2 short actions or 1 long action in the game, which is good. And so that's the beginning of it. We'll take a short break here, and we'll get back to even more stuff that Jake's been just talking about.
But this is so good. I don't want a commercial.
That's why you're going to have to wait through the commercial, and we'll be right back.
Countercharge. Countercharge is the first podcast totally dedicated to the game Kings of War. Join your hosts Andrew, Mark, and Rob as they delve into the world of Mantica and bring you in-depth coverage of all things Kings of War. You can find us on iTunes and at ohiohammer.com, a proud member of the Ohio Hammer network of podcasts.
And now, back to your hosts, Rob Harper and Jack Pike.
And welcome back. Welcome back. We're in the midst of our Deadzone Redux discussion with the new and improved rules that are coming out, the prototype rules. Our faithful listeners, you and I, are going to learn what's changed, what's going to be in the new game, the new version, the improvements that they're working on as we speak.
So we'll go on to army building in Redux. So instead of building your faction from points, it seems that now you choose a commander, and that choice influences your everything else. We're not sure exactly how it influences it, but maybe it makes it some things like if you choose like a fighter commander, maybe fighters are cheaper for you, or...
This is something that I'm the most interested in. This particular, the way they're going to use heroes instead of mercenaries, and use those heroes as leaders, and how you're going to build strike teams. This could make the game far more fun, far more.
It'll be quick to get guys on the field too. So,
but also like I don't like hamstringing you when you're making an army. I don't want to feel like I'm being pegged, but I also think that if you choose a leader and his style and his flavor kind of permeates into the rest of your rank and file, that's an interesting concept, and this is something I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, so each faction will have several commanders to pick from, and each will have its own way of winning. Some commanders will be assault-oriented, others more shooty, and some people like balanced forces, and other people want to go for a single type of troops, things like that. And so the choice of your commander determines your troop, weapon, and equipment options you can pick from. And Jake gave an example of Sergeant Howlett, who currently is a mercenary, so obviously he's not going to be a mercenary anymore, because you can choose him as your commander. And you'd have access to a lot of assault troops and specialists to back him up in his fighting, but you'd have less of other things to choose from. And so unit choices are along the lines of you could take 0 to 1 of these or 1 to 3 of these. It's almost like Warpath, how they're doing the units in Warpath.
Right.
And then you have options and upgrades. You can upgrade your troops, that's interesting. That's like Warpath also. So it's almost like they're taking a lift back from Warpath too, which is interesting. So certain upgrades are allocated on per commander basis to maximize the character of each force. So once again, with Hallett, you can take Assault Enforcers. Anything else would not reflect his character. And it'd be easy to add new forces, because as you add new commanders, you can change the forces up. And so as I said, so as Warpath grows, so can Deadzone, because you'll get all these new commanders for Warpath. You can bring them right into Deadzone as new forces.
And vice versa, and back and forth. However, it'll be more fluid with, they've released a model in Warpath, and here's his, in Deadzone,
here's his stat line, yeah. Here's what he can bring.
His force. And you go, okay, well, why does this guy, this guy is a enforcer, but he has conscripts that are this. Okay. Now you switch over, you've got the flavor, the whole thing, and now you can build a team around him just by purchasing one model for the other game.
And they said it's used to limit cherry-picking approach that designed purely to win at all costs. And now it more focuses on story and character of the universe, that's kind of the way we like to play things. So
yeah, again, I don't want to hear that it's forcing you to choose models you don't want to play, or as long as you're not being hamstrung by.
As long as there's enough choice, yeah.
Yeah. Because especially if you're playing the Plague and Simmons, and you're like, I really love her stat line, I really love her model, which I don't think anyone's ever
nobody's
said.
Gonna say that, yeah.
But let's just say, and then all she can do is this, and this, and all she can take is this, and this. I would be against that. But if that lent itself to rewarding certain things, for every one of those you bought, for every type 3 that you usually get, you get 2.
Yeah. That's what I said. Each character will have its own advantages and disadvantages, which is interesting. Because disadvantages make it more fun games. You don't want everybody to be perfect. You want to have a little bit of, I can't do this, so let's try this.
Or someone would find the perfect roster and be playing that every time, and it's like, that's the strongest possibility, but you've gotten the best of the best. I can see that. But again, this is the most interesting. Some of the other stuff, like the movement or the initiative with the you go, I go, I'll have to play it to see.
Yeah, we'll see how it works.
That doesn't, to me, it doesn't sound right. But this leadership thing is something I'm really interested in exploring.
So people asked Jake some questions on his blog there. So we'll go over some of the questions people asked and the answers he gave. First thing that people asked if there's going to be a beta, and he said he's not sure now. That was the original plan, but Mantic had a number of delays since then, so the rules are behind schedule a bit. So we'll see if we get the beta anytime soon.
We were actually, the last we had heard, before we'd even had been talking to Andrew, and even I think when we had talked to Community Pat, the beta rules were about 2 weeks out. That's what we were led to believe, and now you're saying
they're a little delayed. Yeah,
a little delayed.
So hopefully within this month or next, we'll get some betas. And then someone asked him if this is 1.5 or 2nd edition, and he said numbers don't matter, but he said it's written as a complete replacement for the original version, and it changes quite a bit and collects a lot of the bits that were scattered around in all the different books together. And all Kickstarter backers from the original Kickstarter will get a copy of the Redux, which is nice. So even if you didn't back Infestation, you'll still get a new copy of the new rules. And I'm sure they'll eventually be up on Mantic's website. They always put the rules up. And of course, all the models, scenery, and gaming mats you have are still perfectly usable. And he said they did it just to address some feedback people and comments from fans, and to make the game slicker, simpler, easier to get into, faster to play, and more dangerous for everyone on the table. So it's kind of cool. And he also looked at the way the armies are built to bring it more in line with Warpath and to improve the campaign system. So that's kind of interesting that it's definitely that quicker, faster, bloodier. That's what seems to be their motto in this section. And they said, the rules going to be free, and he said they should be, but they haven't decided yet. And Mantic is interested in making Deadzone the most popular sci-fi skirmish game, so it's unlikely they deliberately upset a bunch of fans by not putting the rules out, so we can expect the rules to be out. They seem to put the rules out for everything. They didn't put the rules up for original Deadzone. I think it's just because they're too big. So hopefully this rules will be so much more compact that they can put them out.
And
also,
like
a quick start guide.
Offering a version to the original Kickstarters, which you were on.
Yeah.
Even just a digital copy, a PDF of that to say, okay, this is the new. You purchased the rules for this game, and not maybe for perpetually for the rest of eternity, but certainly for the next couple years, you are entitled to get a copy of what you purchased that we've made changes to. That's a very friendly to the fan base approach, rather than, hey, another $30 please.
Yeah, they're not trying to rip people off.
And in 6 months, hey, another $30 please.
Yeah, yep. And then someone else asked why the lasers have limited range, and
hey, that guy.
Yeah.
Oh, you.
He said for a few reasons. First, they diffuse an atmosphere, meaning that you're eventually shining just a small light on the target and not hurting it, which that'd be a very extreme range, or really smoky or something to stop.
A lot of ash or
something.
Dust in the air.
And he said also weapons are limited because it's the ability to hit with them, not necessarily how far they shoot. Like, it's easy, you can shoot forever, but you lose the ability to hit things at a certain distance. And also, if they're not designed to be used at great distance because it's a skirmish game. You're supposed to be in short combat. You're supposed to be. These guys are trained to fight in close combat, even long range in Deadzone is still close combat, right?
So was his explanation that the weapons are designed technologically that way?
Well, he's just saying there's a bunch of different reasons.
Okay.
And once again, the guys aren't going to shoot at longer ranges and waste ammo. And he said they're not going to add ammo counts to Deadzone to make it more complicated. And mostly for game reason, it's because you want a variation between armies to give distinct characters, so you're going to give everybody slightly different things. And he said you also don't want to make Deadzone any more deadly. Right now, he said that with the new rules, there's a 100% casualty rate on the losing side and about 70% on the winning side. That's how many people are dying. So yeah, if you made the lasers any more deadly, there'd be nothing left at all. People would just be cut down before they even moved.
Well, then you could also argue why don't you just have the laser a constant beam and someone just swipe just straight,
everything just gets cut in half.
All the buildings, everything.
And he said, yeah, the original Deadzone had combat range and long range, and people seem to like that, so they're keeping it. No reason to change it.
Just see that your whole team, just the torso just sort of sliding off the legs sideways. Game over.
Yep. And they also posted some more pictures of some more demos, this time a little bit more open demos. So they got people in there from the rules teams checking out the different games, and Ronnie's right in there playing again. And the most interesting thing about these pictures is they show a stage 1, and that stage 1 has 2 wound counters on them.
Yes.
Implying that bigger monsters are going to have more hit points.
So rather than a skill called Tough, they might just have in their stat line
4 hit points.
Yep. I wish someone would have thought of that.
Yep. So that'd be nice.
That is actually a fantastic fix to the...
And maybe aberrations will be bigger, so maybe they have 5 hit points, and then,
Yes. I think as a basic game, having everything with a 1 hit point but harder to kill... It sounds good on paper, and it did work, but it's expanding, and you're going to make tougher armored things. Armored things should have more hit points. Vehicles should have more hit points.
Which they do. Their vehicles already have the vehicle rule, which pretty much gives them hit points.
Yes, but the vehicle...
You might as well make it the same across everything, right?
So it makes sense, and it's something that is an obvious fix. 2 wound counters on stage 1, and he's still walking, so who knows?
That's nice, yep.
Maybe 3 hit points?
3 or 4, because doesn't he have really tough? So you have tough or really tough?
Well, if they wanted to distill it down very easily by getting rid of the skills, say, okay, if there's tough, that's 1 hit point.
Yep, really tough's 2 hit points.
2 hit points on top of it. Mm-hmm. And if you're giving hit points anyways and say, okay, larger
bigger
models already had...
Yep.
Okay, well, you could probably make an algorithm very quickly and just plug that in a spreadsheet and you would know the hit points of everything in the game.
So we'll take another short break here, and we'll be back some shoutouts.
Shoutouts? So that's it for the Redux.
Yep, that's it for Redux right now. I'm sure we'll get more news, and hopefully we'll get a beta soon.
Perfect.
It is time for a brief message from our friends at One More Radio.
It's time to enter the Strike Zone.
The Strike Zone Podcast is the ultimate guide to the miniature sports game, Dreadball. From the ringside seats of an underground Dreadball Extreme match to the glitz and glamour of Dreadball Classic, the Strike Zone strives to bring you the latest and greatest Dreadball has to offer. I am your host, Adam, aka Mr. Voxman, and you can find out more at warmoreradio.com.
Hey, this is Jack from the Deadzone Podcast, and you've been listening to the Deadzone Podcast.
With Jack from the Deadzone Podcast.
So much Deadzone Podcast, it'll make you vomit.
It is shout-outs time.
And welcome back to the shoutouts. And who is it that has reached out and touched us? Who's probed us via the intertubes?
Nobody's touched me.
No, that's sad. I'm just going to let that lay right there.
First of all, we'd like to wish happy belated birthdays to both Coach and Daria Winter. Both of them had birthdays in the month of October.
Oh, little October babies.
Yeah, so happy birthday to both of you guys.
We would sing happy birthday, but that is a copyrighted...
That's right.
We would be sued.
Probably. I've never heard of any actually being sued, but there's that rumor that people get sued. Who knows?
I like perpetuating rumors every once in a while.
That's true.
My aunt got an email that said that someone got sued at a Barnes & Noble one time for singing happy birthday.
Is that true?
No, I just said I perpetuate rumors.
None of it's true? Not even a bit of it's true?
I do have an aunt.
Oh, that's the only true bit. And the next shout-out will be to Kevin Riddle, and I had a nice conversation with him on Facebook, and he's from a small town in Oklahoma with only about 800 people. That's like teeny. Even our small towns have like in the thousands at least. Tens of thousands.
That is So on the plus side, you come from a place that has a musical named after it. On the downside, 800 people. You're not going to find a large game group there.
No, that's what he said. A lot of it, he does a lot of solo kind of things. And he listens to the show. He teaches pre-kindergarten, and he listens during their nap time. And I said, you better have headphones on, because otherwise we'd be very sad.
You don't want kids repeating some of the stuff we say.
And he's also a volunteer fireman, which is very cool. And so yeah, cool. Kevin. So if you're in Oklahoma... look him up. Maybe get some games in with him. Because he needs people to play with. The kindergartners aren't cutting it.
No.
They keep chewing on the models.
Because children are small animals at that
well, they're pre-K.
Stage.
That is,
they're basically...
You might as well keep them in cages at
vermin.
That point. Can you tell neither Jack or I have children? And another shout-out is to Gareth Graham. And he's got some pictures here. He did 20 hours of speed painting on his original box, and he did some great shots. He made his stage 1 nice and red and gooey. Look at his hands.
That's
look at
a
the blood
bloody
marks.
mess.
I love the effects. He did like really wet blood effects on the hands.
Yeah, and he's got the skull skull-like, but the rest of it's
very sinewy.
Yeah, pretty like someone skinned him.
Yeah,
he's a army painter. Necrotic flesh. Well, I don't even know what that is. You use army painter.
Yep, necrotic flesh. That's definitely the head looks like he washed it with necrotic flesh there.
Nice.
And
very good.
Yeah.
So 20 hours speed painting. Does that mean
he did all his guys there?
The whole box set done?
It looks like yep. So he check out his pictures, and I do like the effect he got on the stage 1 there. And have you done any hobby time?
No.
You worked on your chariot for Kings of War?
I did do that, yes. But I know that for many of you, you have a nice fall ahead of you for your Thanksgiving and your Halloween and such. We are in rural Canada, and today we already had, when I woke up this morning, snow on the ground. So it is under the gun time. The weather is not our friend, so I had a shed to rebuild. I did my deck.
Are you complaining about your Herculean chores?
Yes, I have been choring it up like there's no tomorrow. So unfortunately, hobby time has not been an option. I did not even get to really get in on that Kickstarter. I wanted to see what you had purchased and whatever other stuff.
Yeah, we'll get to that next episode. We'll see the Warpath. And for me, I've been working on Kings of War. We're a little obsessed with Kings of War right now.
It's gonna hold us over until we get Infestation.
Yeah. That's the thing. We don't have very many sci-fi miniatures to even paint right now. We painted everything.
No. So as soon as the ships start chugging on over from China with all the good bits and pieces, we'll get on to some hobby time for Deadzone. But until then.
Yep. So please, we want more people sending in their hobby time so we can fill the space.
Yeah.
So do what
Gareth
did, and send in some pictures for us. And I don't think we have much more to talk about. Do you have anything to talk about, Jack?
Well, we've covered the redo of the rules, which I think you and I, next time we break out the game, hopefully sometime soon, maybe we'll start seeing. We might play a back and forth with the initiative. We might try some stuff that we've been hearing down the pipeline from various sources.
Or maybe someone at Mantic who actually listens to us will send us a copy of the beta.
That's too much to ask.
What have we ever not done for you, Mantic?
I know, maybe not even the latest.
Yeah, anything. Throw us a bone.
I think we've put in enough legwork. I think we've done enough to.
Haven't we suckled your teeth enough?
We've showed that we've got some good ideas. We could offer some input, even if you didn't want to hear what we had to say. I'm not even saying that.
We just want to see it. You don't have to listen to us.
Let us play a new beta-ish rule set. It'd make us feel funny.
Wanted.
Make us in our bathing suit areas tingle a bit. And, you'd enjoy that. People of Mantic, wouldn't you? Make us happy.
Don't you love us? Anyways, go to cafepress.ca/Deadzone Podcast to buy all the great t-shirts and mugs and stuff. And also check out falleninfantry.wordpress.com to see my newest unboxings. And anything for you to plug, Jack?
No.
Oh, he never learned to read.
I never learned to read.
Until next time, I've been Rob.
And I'm still Jack.
And thank you for listening. Bye-bye.
Adieu, adieu.
Thank you for listening to the Deadzone Podcast. I have been your announcer, William Randolph Wintergreen. Visit the website, deadzonegame.podbean.com. Email your hosts at deadzonepodcast@gmail.com. On Twitter, you can follow the show at Deadzone Podcast. The Deadzone Podcast is a production of Vinland Old Time Radio Productions.
Ow. Look at that. It was the worst clap ever.
The worst clap and worst response to a bad clap.
You're supposed to talk after the clap.
Okay. Well, you clap again there, clappy clap hands.
You have been listening to the Deadzone Podcast. And now, a word from the fine folks at Vinland Old Time Radio.
Vinland Old Time Radio.
It is to that.
Bastrow! Ahoy there, Dirigible. Help a fellow Empire citizen out with you.
It's a gavel. A haunted gavel.
Have you read The King in Yellow?
Hello, William.
I made the koala burgers.
So what's new?
Are you insane?
That better be a rhetorical question. And yes.
For far too long.
I once knew a Spaniard in Tarragona who spoke in gibberish like you.
Up, and escape!
That was terrible.
I should be a god, and instead I'm stuck down here like a worm.
She would tell me such wonderful stories.
Dr. Deja Vu will return. Africa's a continent?
It's with great protest.
Sorry, Judgy Pudding.
Ooh, now that's some fine programming.
VinlandOldTimeRadio.podbean.com